Hello everyone, I hope that you're all doing well. I thought that while I was sitting here tapping on this lovely glass with the floating candles in it from a previous video I just made it, I'll post it sometime. I thought I would go ahead, since I'm sitting here with this lovely setup, to go ahead and tell you a story. There's a story that I came up with a long while back for some children I was working with, and they seem to like it, so I'm hoping you will too. I just thought to share it on the spot, so I hope I get the story right. But it goes like this. There's a husband and a wife, and they're sitting down for breakfast one day, and the husband says to the wife, I'm going to go out hiking today. I heard about this lovely hike I could go on, some waterfalls that you can get to, and some friends told me about it. I'd love to go, so I'm going to go out and do that today. And the wife said, okay, great, see you at dinner time. So the husband left and he headed out for this mountain, this hike that he had heard of. It's a long way to get there, but he was very eager to go, and he hadn't told his wife why. The reason he was so eager to go is because of some friends of his. They had told him that this water at the end of the hike at this beautiful waterfall, the water had healing powers. And he had had some pain in his back for so many years, and he thought, I would love to go and see if maybe some of this healing water is real and maybe I can get some. Because he had tried so many things to get his back into better shape, and he just wasn't able to. Doctors couldn't help, and this and that. He tried. Nothing was helping for years and years, so he thought, you know what, why not? I'm going to go and try, see if I can get to this water. He didn't want to tell his wife because he was a little bit embarrassed. He didn't think that she would believe him or think it was real, and he had his doubts, so he didn't even want to mention it. He thought he would just try. He had the day to do that. So he went up to this mountain. He finally got to the edge of it, and he thought, okay, I'm going to start my hike. But he saw this sign, big sign. It was very clear that if you wanted to get to the waterfall, you had to really pay attention to the rules of this hike. One of the rules was that you would need to jump over any puddles that you saw. There were many puddles along the way, and you have to really jump over those puddles to make sure that you don't get all wet and dirty and need to turn back, or to not sprain your ankle or do something like that to yourself. So he thought, okay, I can do that. I have to jump over all of the puddles that I see. The other thing that the sign said was that you needed to do not fall in any of the ditches that you'll see along the way, which there are many of as well. So he thought to himself, okay, that's fairly simple. Okay, I think I could do that. Jump over all the puddles that I see and do not fall in any of the ditches that I see. How hard can that be? So he started on his journey, on his hike up the mountain, and sure enough, came to the first puddle. And he made a big leap for it, and he actually jumped over the puddle. And he made it. He thought, oh great, this is good, now I can get to that water. However, he came across a ditch shortly after, and he did his best not to fall in the ditch. But as he tried to get over the ditch and do some different maneuvers to try and not fall in, sure enough, he fell down into this little ditch, and it took him a while to get himself out of it, and it was frustrating. He got dirty, and he even felt like he twisted his ankle. He thought to himself, oh, what was I thinking? I cannot believe I even tried this. This is very difficult. This is not easy at all. I thought it would be, but this is not easy at all. This is so many puddles, so many ditches I could see, and I only got past my first puddle, and I fell in the first ditch that I saw. So he turned back, and he drove home. And that evening at dinner, he sat down with his wife, and they had some dinner and drink, and they enjoyed each other's company, and she saw that he had, you know, twisted his ankle, and he said, oh, it's not a big thing, no problem, just a little thing. He didn't want to make a big deal of it, but he had told himself, I'm not trying that again, no way. So he went to sleep, and the next morning he woke up, and surprisingly, all of the little scratches he had gotten and his supposedly twisted ankle were all better. He didn't have any pain in his ankle whatsoever. And his scratches didn't even seem to be there. He thought, oh, this is strange. But lovely, great, I'm so glad. You know what? He felt a renewed hope. Okay, I'm gonna go and try it again. I feel better today, I'm gonna try it again. So he told his wife again, oh, you know, I want to try it again. I didn't have the best time yesterday, but I really want to try and get to the top of that hike. And again, he did not tell his wife why, as he had failed the day prior. And so he got into his car and he drove all the way over to that base of that mountain again. And when he arrived, he looked at that sign again. He thought, okay, do not fall in any of the ditches and go over all of the puddles. Okay, not so hard. I can do this, I can do this. So he went along his way. Sure enough, he was able to jump over that first puddle again. And he was able to not fall in the first ditch like he had the prior day. He's quite happy about that. And he kept going and going, and sure enough, he got a ways that day. He jumped over many puddles, and he managed to not fall in plenty of ditches that he passed. He was about 2/3 up the hike and thought to himself, well, look at me, this is great, I'm doing such a good job, I think I might make it today, this is wonderful. And as he's looking, he sees a bird, and he's looking and this and that, and get a little distracted, and sure enough, boom, right into a puddle. He got just so wet. Muddy, wet, not any old puddle. These are some big puddles. He was just dirty as anything. And so he was devastated. He got so much further today. He had just failed at the very beginning last time, and this time he got so much further along the way. But he knew, oh, he was cold. He was just muddy as anything, and he knew he could not finish like that. And sure enough, he felt again just a bit of that twist in his ankle. He had gotten a few more bruises and this and that from falling into the puddle. And he thought, okay, I'm going home. No, I can't finish this. So the poor guy, he went all the way back to his car and drove home in his wet, soggy clothes. He brought a towel and he tried to dry himself off in case that happened, but he did not feel good at all. Ended up catching a cold even, because it was all wet to go driving home. He never imagined getting so dirty and so wet, but his towel wasn't helpful. He got home and his wife felt so bad. Oh honey, you've got a cold. Oh, and your ankle's hurting again. Oh, I wish you felt better. I'm so sorry. Let me get some dinner for you, and you can rest and have some dinner and something to drink, and hopefully you'll feel better tomorrow. So he went to bed again that night, and again had told himself, I'm definitely not going to go on that hike again. So he slept the night through, and he indeed woke up the next morning and had that same odd experience. His cold was gone. Completely gone. He thought, oh, I guess that was just a short thing. Maybe it was an allergy. I don't know what that was, but I'm so thankful I feel better. Okay, sorry about that. One of the candles went out. So he woke up that morning, and like I said, his cold was gone. His ankle felt so much better again. Barely felt anything at all. And so he thought to himself, you know, I can't believe I'm telling myself this, but I would like to try one more time. He felt such renewed energy. He thought, you know what, I don't know how, but I feel excited to try again. I'm gonna go. So again, he got up, he told his wife, he drove all the way there. He read the sign. Do not fall in the ditches and jump. Do jump over all the puddles that you see. He tried again. And this time, he started off so excited. He thought, okay, I'm going to try it. I'm going to get there. I'm going to get to that waterfall for sure. I need to. I want to. I've got to do this perfectly today. He put a lot of pressure on himself. And the pressure that he had put on himself was so much that he was feeling a bit stressed out by it. But he felt really motivated and he felt excited to try it, and he just really wanted to be perfect that day and get to that waterfall. So he went along and he was able to jump over the first puddle, and sure enough he was able to not fall in that first ditch, and he went along and along and along, and he got to almost to the place he'd gotten the day before when, oh, unfortunately he fell in yet another puddle. He tried to jump over it, he slipped a little and he ended up right in his face in the puddle. He couldn't believe it. He was devastated because he hadn't even made it as far as he had the day before. He thought, surely I'll go farther at least than yesterday, and maybe eventually I can get there. But no, it wasn't even at the point he had gotten to the day before. He was so frustrated with himself. Felt quite hopeless and exhausted. He just felt exhausted, he felt frustrated, he felt in pain again because, you know, he's just fallen into another ditch and his knees are aching and his back pain that he even went there for was just feeling even worse after all these falls. So he's just not doing well at all. He got into his car, this time he had tried to bring a change of clothes just in case, so thankfully he had that. But boy, was his back hurting. His ankle still hurt a little bit suddenly, and he just was in bad shape with some bruises and some scrapes. So he drove all the way home again, very disappointed in himself. And very sad that he had not gotten that water. And so he arrived home that night, and his wife said to him, you know, honey, oh, I'm so sorry that this keeps happening to you. I don't think you should go for this hike anymore. Is there any reason that you keep pushing yourself to go back on this hike that you keep getting hurt on? I mean, why would you do that 3 days in a row? I mean, I supported you in the beginning, but now I don't think I can support you doing that to yourself again. And so he finally got the courage to admit, well, you're not going to believe it, but a friend of mine had told me about this healing water at the top of the mountain. And I thought if I could just get to the top of that mountain where the waterfall is and have that healing water, then my terrible back pain for years would just be gone. His wife looked at him with eyes and said, what water is this that you're referring to? This sounds familiar to me. You mean some healing water? And he's like, yes, I just heard that there's this waterfall you can get this healing water from. I know it sounds silly. She said, no, it does not sound silly to me at all. In fact, you're gonna laugh when I tell you this, and maybe even cry a little bit. Honey, I heard about this water a few days before you started your hike from a friend of mine. Don't you know that they bottle this water? You don't need to actually go on this huge hike to get to the water. They bottle it now. And so I purchased some, and every night that you had your dinner, I served you some. You've been drinking it every night when you got back from your hike. And his jaw dropped. No, you've got to be kidding me. Yes, indeed. It's that easy to get. It's something you can just buy. So she said, yes, it's so easy to get, actually. I now can have it at our home all the time, this healing water. And he thought to himself and thought back and thought, oh my goodness, that's why every morning that I woke up I felt fine again. None of my back pain had even been there. My ankle pain had been healed. All my cuts and my bruises were fine. Even my cold had gone away. And suddenly everything made sense to him. What he had been trying so hard to get on his own, what he had been trying so hard to work for and to be perfect for, was actually something he already had. He didn't need to even try to get it. It was given to him already.